In the 3rd year of our marriage, my president wife secretly flew abroad to see her first love's younger brother. Unexpectedly, someone took intimate photos of them, and they went viral. He rushed back in a panic and received countless missed calls and messages as soon as he got off the plane. He clicked on the last voice message. Sis, Grandpa Mu passed away. Call me back when you see this. Lu Ruyan, with a pale face, called her younger sister Lu Yanran. What exactly happened? Lu Yanran was silent for a few seconds. Knowing that he hadn't heard all of her message, she had to repeat it. Today, brother-in-law came to the hospital to see Grandpa. Grandpa saw the photos of you accompanying Mr. Itung abroad, and he had a brain hemorrhage due to emotional excitement. He passed away not long after the attempted rescue. Brother-in-law was devastated. So upon hearing this, Lu Ruyan's face turned pale, and she clutched her phone tightly, breathing rapidly. Where is he? Lu Yanran was silent for a few seconds before saying, I don't know. The Mu family cremated and buried Grandpa Mu's body this afternoon. I don't know where brother-in-law is now. I only know that he made one request after leaving the hospital. Lu Ruyan instantly guessed the request he made. Her jawline tightened. I won't divorce. Lu Yanran continued. Grandma and aunt have already agreed to brother-in-law's request. Lu Ruyan's expression darkened. She kicked the suitcase beside her. I didn't say I wanted a divorce, but sis, you really went too far this time. Lu Ruyan's face was unsightly, and she muttered a curse. Assistant Song Yaoji trembled beside her. It was the first time she had seen Lu Ruyan so out of control. President Lu. Lu Ruyan pinched the bridge of her nose, her face darkening, and made a call. The phone rang but no one answered. Lu Ruyan had no choice but to call Madame Lu. The moment the call connected, neither mother nor daughter spoke. Lu Ruyan felt a dryness in her throat. She still lowered her voice and asked, Mom, where's Mugu? Are you together? Madame Lu finally spoke. If you must hate, then hate enough. No. Lu Ruyan wanted to say something, but her father Lu Chung snatched the phone away. He immediately began to scold her. What sin did I commit to give birth to something like you? Come home immediately. Lu Ruyan listened expressionlessly, her heart growing colder and colder. Where is Mugu now? You're asking me about your own husband? Are you even human? I'm warning you. Come back immediately. And that Itung guy, tell him. The Lu family's door is not for a mistress to enter unless we are all dead. Lu Ruyan felt a pain in her chest. She wanted to explain, but he always disdained explanations the most. Dad. He and I aren't like that. Lu Chung sneered. Whether it is or isn't doesn't matter anymore. Mugu only has one request now, divorce. If you have any conscience, then grant it to him. Lu Ruyan's entire back tensed up after hearing the word divorce twice. Her hands clenched tightly. I won't divorce. You think you can decide just because you don't want to? What do you even amount to? Lu's father got angrier as he spoke. Lu Ruyan hung up directly, her heart sinking. He opened his mouth to say something, but in the end he was speechless. President Lu, we still need to find Mr. Mu first. Lu Ruyan slowly raised her eyes, her face ashen. Return to the villa. On the way back, Lu Ruyan kept calling me, but no matter how many times he called, I didn't answer. He leaned back in his seat, clutching his phone tightly. Drive faster. Song Yaoji stepped on the gas. Yes, President Lu. President Lu. We're here. Lu Ruyan pushed the door open and got out of the car. Song Yaoji followed closely behind. He looked at Lu Ruyan in a daze, watching her hurried and anxious figure. Zhang Ma was stunned when she saw him. Miss, you're back. Lu Ruyan was in no mood for pleasantries. Her eyes searched the second floor. Is Mugu home? Zhang Ma heard. No. Seeing his unsightly expression, Zhang Ma couldn't help but ask, did something happen? Lu Ruyan ignored him and strode upstairs. She pushed open the bedroom door. Everything was there, including my computer and personal belongings. But he was still uneasy. Although everything was there, he was not. He didn't even know where I was. He wanted to see me. Immediately, Lu Ruyan turned and walked downstairs with a sinking expression. Zhang Ma had just hung up the phone. He looked up at us, his expression shocked. Lu Ruyan paused. He stared at him with heavy eyes. Whose call was that? Zhang Ma had obviously not fully recovered. It was Mr. Mu. He said I could go back to my hometown and that he wouldn't be coming back. Dispose of everything in his room yourself. Lu Ruyan's face was a little gloomy. What else did he say? Aunt Zhang shook her head blankly. Nothing else, Mississippi. What on earth happened? Everything was fine this morning. Lu Ruyan blinked back tears. He found my sister Mu Yunxuan's number and called it. Lu Ruyan thought that this call would still go unanswered, but Mu Yunxuan's cold voice came through. President Lu? Lu Ruyan's voice was low, and she softened her tone with rare humility. Where is Mu Gu? I want to see him. When Mu Yunxian heard Lu Ruyan's voice, her expression instantly turned cold. The divorce agreement is at the Lu's residence. Please find time to sign it, President Lu. Please let my brother go. Give him a chance to live. Then Mu Yunxian hung up the phone. The call was ended. Lu Ruyan hurried downstairs and went straight to the door. Back to the old house. Aunt Zhang watched the two leave, still unsure of what had happened. The Lu's residence was brightly lit, but the atmosphere was heavy and suffocating. The Lu family members were all dressed in solemn black clothes to express their mourning for Elder Master Mu. As soon as she walked into the house, Lu Ruyan and Convey shrank back. Finally, she knelt directly in front of the old lady and said in a somewhat hoarse voice, Grandma, where is Mu Gu? I want to see him. The old lady Lu kept her eyes tightly closed, rolling her prayer beads in her hand, ignoring Lu Ruyan. Lu Ruyan lowered her head, her expression stiff. Where is he? Madame Lu sighed. Mu Gu doesn't want anything, but we set up a foundation in his name. Your grandma transferred her shares under her name to him. If there are no problems, sign it. Lu Ruyan's body stiffened. She looked at the divorce agreement that Madame Lu brought over. Trembling as she took it, she flipped to the last page and it was indeed her signature on it. She clenched the agreement tightly. So you won't tell me where he is? Lu Ruyan's father, Lu Cheng, stared at her steadily and walked up to her. Does he still want to see you? Mu Gu is my husband. I will find him. Even if I turn this city upside down, I will find him. After saying that, she looked at Song Yaoji with a grim gaze. Contact Director Wang and have him find Mu Gu before dawn. Lu Cheng's face turned green and he stepped forward, grabbing her collar and said angrily, Only now you know. He's your husband? Where were you when he needed you? Lu Ruyan's throat tightened, and she said in a somewhat hoarse voice, I can explain it to him. Lu Cheng interrupted her. I'll only ask you, did you do what you promised Mu Gu? Did you lie to him? Lu Ruyan couldn't say a word. She didn't do it, and she did lie to Mu Gu. I just didn't want him to overthink things. Ito Makoto and I are not romantically involved. I will explain it clearly to Mu Gu. Madame Lu stepped forward and looked at her quietly, taking a deep breath. Lu Ruyan, don't threaten us. Looking at Madame Lu, she softened her voice. Mom, please tell me where he is. I want to see him. Please let me see him. Madame Lu shook her head. It's not that I won't let you see him. It's that your dad and I don't know. Lu Cheng sneered. Do you know why they didn't even set up a mourning hall before the burial? It's because they don't want him to be your husband and they don't want you to attend. Lu Ruyan, you are not worthy to be his wife. Lu Ruyan stood there helplessly, seemingly unable to understand the meaning of these words. The old lady Lu slowly opened her eyes, no longer with a loving face. If you still acknowledge me as your grandma, sign the divorce and don't look for him again. Don't disturb his life anymore. Lu Ruyan's heart turned cold. Lu Ruyan clenched her fist and finally let out a mocking laugh. She didn't leave but turned around and knelt down directly. Grandma, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't find Mu Gu. Then I will kneel until you soften your heart and tell me where he is. Lu Ruyan probably understood that the person was hidden by the old lady. The old lady Lu glanced at her granddaughter and then got up. Madame Lu went over to support her. Lu Cheng snorted and turned around to go back to his room. In the huge villa, the servants had already retreated, leaving only Lu Ruyan kneeling on the ground, and Song Yaoji standing next to her. Assistant Song Yaoji bit her lip and knelt down as well. President Lu. Lu Ruyan lowered her eyes, and her expression was not clear in the dim light. Song Yaoji said softly, President Lu, do you want to secretly arrange for someone to look for Mr. Mu? Lu Ruyan raised her eyes slightly and tugged at the corners of her lips. The old lady personally arranged the place. You won't find him. Song Yaoji was speechless upon hearing this. Then you're just going to keep kneeling like this? Lu Ruyan's mind filled with Mu family's grandpa's face, her fists clenched tightly. She gave a self-deprecating laugh. I should kneel. Assistant Song Yaoji bit her lip. Then I'll stay here with you. Lu Ruyan slowly closed her eyes, her voice hoarse with affection and helplessness. No, you have other things to do. Manager Lu, what do you say? Lu Ruyan slowly opened her eyes, a sharp glint flashing in them. Go find out what's going on with the photos. Song Yaoji quickly got up. Yes, Manager Lu. I'll find out right away. Lu Ruyan didn't speak, only listened to the courtyard in the hall. My head is full of your image in the hospital. I seem to have a very long dream. I dreamed that my parents and grandpa were still here, and our family went on a happy trip, but the scene suddenly changed. I saw my parents covered in blood, and my grandpa lying in the morning hall, and I woke up from the dream. Chusu heard the sound and quickly pushed the door open. Mugu, are you okay? Did you have a nightmare? At this moment the door was suddenly pushed open. Mr. Chu. Is our Mr. Mu awake? I looked at that familiar face. Aunt Wang. What are you doing here? Chusu looked at me with a complicated and pitying expression. The old lady called me. She asked me to come back to take care of you. I'm on your side from now on, you can rest assured. I couldn't refuse Grandma's kindness and I wanted to smile, but I really couldn't. Okay. Aunt Wang, I understand. I'll be troubling you from now on. After saying that, I took the soup that Aunt Wang brought, and 10 minutes later, Aunt Wang saw that I had finished the soup. She took away the spoon. Finished, Mr. Mu, I'll be outside. Call me if you need anything. I nodded. Okay. Thank you, Aunt Wang. The two left one after the other, and I turned to look at the phone on the bedside table. I picked it up and looked at it. It was full of Lu Ruyan's missed calls. I directly put Lu Ruyan's contact information. I deleted and blacklisted everything. At this time Lu Ruyan was kneeling in the hall of the old house, calling my phone again and again. Until she couldn't get through, Lu Ruyan helplessly lowered her phone and smiled self-deprecatingly. He couldn't understand, he just made this one wrong step. How did it lead to this situation? Late at night, Madame Lu came out to get a drink, looking at Lu Ruyan still kneeling there. She said indifferently, if only you had known today, there would be no need to do this in the first place. I already reminded you not to get entangled with the Ito family brothers. When have you ever listened to me? Lu Ruyan's throat was dry. I just want to see Mugu once. Even if Mugu wants to divorce me, he has to tell me in person, otherwise I won't sign this paper. Madame Lu said coldly, it's not up to you anymore. No one in this family can defy your grandmother. Lu Ruyan slowly raised herself up. Tell me, where is Mugu? Mom. Madame Lu's throat choked. She looked at this daughter somewhat absent-mindedly. Since she grew up and became sensible, there have been very few times that they were so calm. Madame Lu pursed her red lips tightly and slowly squatted down. Do you know that before Mu family's grandpa passed away, the last thing he said was that he wanted to see you, do you know? Lu Ruyan's whole body stiffened, her gaze fixed on her. Madame Lu looked at her quietly. But your phone couldn't be reached, and in the end, Grandpa saw a photo of you and a man in the hospital room. Lu Ruyan closed her eyes, her voice hoarse. What photo? Madame Lu's attitude softened, but she still explained coldly. In the hospital room, you and Ito's. That man's photo, you know in your heart what you did. Lu Ruyan gave a self-deprecating smile. She broke her leg, and had a cerebral thrombosis. I couldn't ignore her. I promised her. That's right, you promised Ito to take care of her younger brother. But Ruyan, what about your promise to your husband? I really didn't know. If I had known, I wouldn't have gone, Mom. I want to see him, I must see him. Madame Lu shook her head. It's not that I'm not telling you, it's that everything your grandmother arranged personally. Even when Grandpa Mu was buried, we didn't go to the Mu family's land. We only waited far away outside. Your grandmother said she was sorry to the Mu family's grandpa, and had no face to see him. After Lu Ruyan heard this, she let go of Madame Lu's hand. Then I'll keep kneeling until Grandma is willing to tell me. Madame Lu. Ruyan. At this moment, someone walked out from somewhere, hearing Lu Ruyan's words. Immediately late, outrageous. You've been kneeling here the whole time. Does the company not want to manage things anymore? Lu Ruyan was expressionless. The same. Lu Chang said angrily. Your mom is right. If only you had known today, what wouldn't you have done back then? This time, Lu Ruyan suddenly felt a pain in her heart. She couldn't control the severe pain in her chest. She hunched over using one hand to support herself on the floor. Madame Lu said unkindly, "How is it?" Lu Cheng also stepped forward and squatted down. Although his words were harsh, she was, after all, his own daughter. Lu Ruyan's face was a little pale, and dense beads of sweat gathered on her forehead. She suddenly said sharply, "I told you to go back and rest." Hearing this, Lu Cheng's distressed expression immediately turned dark. "Ungrateful thing. If she likes to kneel, let her kneel. Let's go back and rest." Madame Lu opened her mouth, but in the end, she didn't say anything. I nodded slightly and then hugged her. "Okay, then I'll wait for you at home." She gently stroked my head, the corners of her mouth turned up. This was the first time she had a business trip with her husband seeing her off. It felt pretty good even though she had snatched it. Just as she was about to board the plane, she turned around and glanced at me standing there watching and pausing. Suddenly, she didn't want to go to Haicheng anymore. So she said to her assistant Song Yaoji, "I regret it a bit." Song Yaoji asked, "What does President Lu regret?" "I shouldn't have opened the Haicheng branch." Song Yaoji was a little speechless and only said, "Love is really terrible." The memories slowly faded away. Lu Ruyan slowly straightened her body. Indeed, it was terrible. Only now did she realize how important Mugu was to her. The next morning, Madame Lu knocked on the old lady's door. The old lady leaned wearily against the head of the bed, chanting Buddhist beads. "Is she still kneeling downstairs?" Madame Lu nodded. "Yes, she's been there all night." The old lady slowly closed her eyes. "What exactly is going on between her and that boy? How much do you know?" Madame Lu no longer hid anything. A few minutes later, the old lady heard the whole story. She sighed. "What a hard life. Perhaps these two children's fate is not enough." It was almost noon when the old lady came downstairs. The Lius were waiting on the sofa. Seeing the old lady come down, they all stood up. Lu Ruyan raised her head, her eyes dark red. "Grandma, I want to see Mugu. Please let me see him." The old lady said coldly, "Mugu doesn't want to see you, never will." Hearing these words again, Lu Ruyan closed her eyes tightly. She smiled self-deprecatingly. "So you won't let me see him, will you?" The old lady frowned. "You have to admit your mistakes." The corners of Lu Ruyan's mouth twitched slightly, and she said expressionlessly, "I didn't say I wouldn't admit them. But I want to admit them face to face." The old lady said sternly, "But you also have to see if people are willing to give you a chance. Or are you just going to force him?" These words stung Lu Ruyan. She had been forcing Mugu all along, thinking she could control everything. The old lady stepped forward and hit her back with her crutch. The Lu couple exclaimed. But the old lady gave them a cold look and said sternly, "If you dare to stop her, I'll break one of her legs." The couple was immediately silenced. They remembered the methods and temper of the old master Lu. The old lady hit Lu Ruyan a few times. Lu Ruyan straightened her back. Not even groaning, she endured it. "I'm hitting you because you're an unfilial daughter and an unfaithful wife." Lu Ruyan finally stood up. Her knees, having knelt all night, had no feeling, but she stood up on sheer willpower and said in a cold voice, word by word, "You can refuse to let me see him, but I will never get a divorce." After saying that, she turned and left. No longer with the high spirits of the past, Song Yaoji had been worried about Lu Ruyan, so she waited for her at the door early in the morning. Seeing Lu Ruyan come out, she quickly went over to help her. "President Lu, are you okay?" She helped Lu Ruyan into the car. Lu Ruyan took a deep look at the old house, following Chu Chan and Mu Yunxian. Song Yaoji nodded. "Yes, President Lu." Lu Ruyan closed her eyes and leaned back in the seat. "Go to the cemetery." An hour later, they arrived at the cemetery. Lu Ruyan looked at the fresh tombstone and flowers, slowly knelt down. Song Yaoji stood quietly by her side. Lu Ruyan looked at the old man on the tombstone. Her eyes darkened. "Grandpa Mu, I'm sorry for you." My sister Lu Yenran said that Grandpa Mu saw the photos of her and eating caused a sudden illness. "It was my fault. I harmed you, Grandpa. I have an unshirkable responsibility." After Lu Ruyan said this, she silently knelt in front of the tombstone. After an unknown amount of time, Song Yaoji tentatively spoke, "Director Lu." Lu Ruyan stood up after kowtowing 3 times, took a deep look at the photo, and then turned to leave. Assistant Song Yaoji also faced the tombstone. After bowing, she followed. Looking at Lu Ruyan's upright figure, she felt a sense of loneliness and isolation. Without her realizing it, how could this have happened? Clearly, everything was developing in a positive direction. Yet a fatal interlude occurred. As she was thinking, her phone suddenly rang. The assistant glanced at Lu Ruyan's back. Answered the phone. Hello. The voice of Xiao Shuang came from the other end of the phone. Special Assistant Song, I really didn't know about Mr. Eating's plan. Director Lu won't blame me, will she? Song Yaoji knew. As long as you tell the truth. Xiao Shuang was silent for a while before speaking. Okay, I'll talk. Song Yaoji handed the phone to Lu Ruyan. Director Lu, it's Xiao Shuang. Lu Ruyan took the phone, her voice dark and hoarse. Speak. Xiao Shuang could feel her aura even from the other side of the phone, becoming hesitant. Director Lu, I only just found out, Brother Eating's leg is completely fine. He didn't fracture anything. Nor did he have surgery. Brother Eating bribed the local doctors to lie. Also, the photos were indeed taken by me at Brother Eating's request. Lu Ruyan clenched the phone tightly and slowly said, There's something I need you to do. After the call ended, Xiao Shuang calmed himself down for a long time before entering the ward. Looking inside at Eating Chung, who was chatting and laughing with the attending physician, he clenched his fists. In his ear were Lu Ruyan's cold and merciless words. Since he doesn't want to go on stage, then he doesn't need to pick again in the future. Xiao Shuang was a smart man. How could he not understand the meaning in Lu Ruyan's words? Xiao Shuang clenched his phone, adjusted the expression on his face and pushed the door open. Brother Eating, I bought you some fruit. Which one do you want to eat? Eating Chung glanced at him and casually said, Cantaloupe, I guess. Xiao Shuang smiled. Okay, Brother Eating. Song Yaoji was driving, so she naturally heard these words, but she wasn't surprised at all. Director Lu, where are we going now? Lu Ruyan looked a bit tired, glancing out the window. To the Mu residence. Assistant Song Yaoji wasn't surprised. If you want to find out where Mr. Mu is, the only way is to find a solution from these people, and the death of Elder Mu was not publicly announced, so the outside world is unaware. Huixing was holding documents and coming out of the office to look for Mu Yunxian. Mu Yunxian ran into Lu Ruyan, who had just come out of the elevator. Huixing raised his eyebrows. Knowing that he couldn't stop Lu Ruyan, he made a gesture of invitation. Lu Ruyan nodded slightly as a courtesy, and went straight to Mu Yunxuan's office. Huixing narrowed his eyes. Lu Ruyan's clothes were clearly wrinkled. Her tie was crooked, and her eyes were also bloodshot. It seemed that Director Lu didn't have a good day yesterday. Mu Yunxian thought it would be Huixing coming in, but when she saw Lu Ruyan, she didn't seem very surprised. Director Lu is so busy that she can't be seen. He finally couldn't help but say, Director Mu, there is a misunderstanding between our Director Lu and Mr. Mu. Our Director Lu isn't. Lu Ruyan raised her hand to stop him from continuing to speak. I will explain it to him myself. Even if he wants to divorce me, he must listen to my explanation. I want to hear him say it with his own mouth. Mu Yunxian sat in her chair and looked up at him. I think it's no longer necessary. Let me see him. Mu Yunxuan's expression became even colder, and she stood up to face him. Director Lu, I have reminded you more than once before, even begged you to be nicer to him. Lu Ruyan's throat choked slightly. Okay, it's a misunderstanding, even if this is a misunderstanding but a life. May I ask who can pay for this misunderstanding? Is it you or Director Lu? Can you? Song Yaoji's heart sank, and a bitter expression flashed in her eyes. Is Director Lu wrong? Of course she's wrong. Her mistake is that she shouldn't have advised Eating Chung. Mu Yunxian walked out from behind her desk to Lu Ruyan's side. Director Lu, whether you did it intentionally or unintentionally, because of you and the man behind you, Mu Ge has lost his family ties. No matter what you do, he will never be able to forgive you in this lifetime. Lu Ruyan closed her eyes, and finally turned to leave without saying anything more. Seeing this, Song Yaoji glanced at Mu Yunxian and also turned to leave. But just as the two were about to leave the office, Mu Yunxuan's words rang out again. Director Lu, if I were you, I wouldn't have the face to see him again. What he lost you can't make up for. Song Yaoji felt that. Every word Mu Yunxian said was like a knife. It was so heartbreaking. She glanced at the woman in front of her. It seemed like I saw a glimmer in her eyes, and Song Yaoji suddenly felt a little frightened leaving Mu City. Assistant Song Yaoji glanced at Lu Ruyan, who was sitting in the back. President Lu. But I can wait. The Mu family is here, and she will always come back. I don't believe she can hide forever and never come back. Song Yaoji suddenly felt a little speechless. Can blindly waiting like this really get Mr. Mu to change his mind? She thought it was very difficult. Back at the company, Tang Qing was the first to rush up. She didn't even have time to look at the two's faces. President Lu. Why isn't Mu Gu at work? I can't get through to her. What's wrong with her? Lu Ruyan looked at her darkly and said coldly, she won't be coming anymore. Why? Tang Qing looked puzzled. Song Yaoji glanced at Tang Qing. Constantly giving her meaningful looks, Tang Qing finally realized that the atmosphere seemed a little wrong. She glanced at Lu Ruyan and found that Lu Ruyan's face was a little ugly, and she didn't dare to ask any more questions. Lu Ruyan had already looked away and turned to enter the office. Tang Qing then walked to Song Yaoji's side, grabbing her arm. What's wrong? What happened? Song Yaoji looked at her, suddenly not knowing how to tell her, so she subconsciously wanted to hide the truth. Nothing, hurry up and work. Tell me. Song Yaoji quickly hid in her office. Tang Qing looked at the doors of the two offices in a daze. What exactly happened? Tang Qing wanted to find out the situation, so in the evening after work, directly blocked her in the office. Assistant Song, what's going on? Song Yaoji looked at her helplessly. Why are you so curious? What does this have to do with you? How can it not matter? Mu Gu and I are friends. Song Yaoji looked at her hesitantly. She had no choice but to briefly tell her what happened. Tang Qing suddenly stood up from the chair. She glared at Song Yaoji angrily. So this is why you were lying to me in the hospital and colluding with you. Song Yaoji suddenly felt overwhelmed. She endured it and gritted her teeth and said, Secretary Tang, I beg you to listen to the important points, okay? What's the important point? Oh, the important point is that Grandpa Mu passed away. Is this the important point? Song Yaoji said anxiously. I said it was a misunderstanding. President Lu was completely unaware. Excuses, all excuses. If it was really like what you said at the beginning, if President Lu was really innocent with that eating, how could she be with another man? Abandon her husband? Song Yaoji opened her mouth, suddenly not knowing how to explain. One wrong step, it's always wrong. Song Yaoji was very regretful this time, knowing that she would stop Lu Zong from flying abroad at all costs. Tang Qing bit her lip. Serves her right. If it were me, I wouldn't have lived with Lu Zong for a day. I would definitely divorce her and never see her again. Saying that, Tang Qing was unusually angry, gritting her teeth and saying, no woman is a good thing. Cursing, she turned around angrily, but she saw Lu Ruyan outside the door as soon as she opened the door. Lu Ruyan stared at her coldly. Have you said enough? Tang Qing came back to her senses. Her eyes flickered slightly. Don't look at the fact that she can stand up for Mu Gu behind her back, even scolding. But in front of Lu Ruyan she always has to show weakness, saying, I'm done. Saying that, she shrank her neck and leaned against the door frame, and quickly slipped back to her seat. Tang Qing looked up after watching the two leave. She slammed the mouse hard. What kind of people? Tang Qing took out her phone and sent a lot of messages to Mu Gu, but there was no reply. An hour later, Mu's issued an obituary that Mr. Mu's family died yesterday. Then another message was sent about Mu Gu and Lu Ruyan's divorce. Far away in foreign countries, eating. Laughed so happily after seeing the news. Divorced? They actually divorced. That old man is dead too. Haha, this is really great news. Xiao Shuang, even God is helping me. Xiao Shuang held her breath slightly. A dark light flashed in her eyes. Brother Eating, since you are in such a good mood today, then I'll accompany you to go shopping. Eating raised his eyebrows. The smile on his lips never faded. Okay, I'll pay for whatever you like today. Thank you, Brother Eating. Xiao Shuang looked at Eating, who walked into the room humming a little song, hesitated for a few seconds before taking out her phone and sending a message saying. After receiving the reply, her heart beat a little faster. I'm sorry. Eating, this is your own death wish. I can't die with you. Half an hour later, The two arrived at a nearby shopping mall. Xiao Shuang looked around and suddenly asked, "Eating, can I buy you a drink?" After speaking, Xiao Shuang quickened her pace to buy coffee. 10 minutes later, when Xiao Shuang, holding 2 cups of coffee, saw Yi Tengqing lying on the ground after being hit by a car, she swallowed hard. After the ambulance took the two away, Xiao Shuang called Song Yaoji, Special Assistant Song. "It's me. The doctor said that Yi Teng's right leg has a comminuted fracture. He will probably be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life." Song Yaoji was silent on the other end of the phone for a few seconds before saying, "Okay. Thank you for your hard work, but don't worry, there's still one more thing I need you to do." Xiao Shuang certainly knew what she was talking about. Having come this far, she could only bite the bullet and move forward. "Don't worry, Special Assistant Song, I will definitely find out Yi Teng's secret as soon as possible." Song Yaoji hung up the phone and glanced at the person behind her. "President Liu, the matter has been taken care of." Liu Ruyan hummed and didn't open her eyes, but continued to lean on the seat to rest. When she returned to the old house in the evening, Liu's father, Liu Cheng, pointed at Liu Ruyan and scolded her. "How can you still have the face to come back? What are you doing back here?" Liu Ruyan glanced at the two of them with a gloomy look. "Where's Grandma?" "The old lady Liu is on the 2nd floor. Go up yourself." Liu Ruyan looked up at the 2nd floor. Then she walked upstairs. The old lady Liu glanced at her and walked towards the study. The two entered the study without saying a word. The old lady Liu sat down and looked at this granddaughter. "What do you want to say?" Liu Ruyan looked at the old lady Liu with a dim gaze. The next second she knelt down. "Grandma, I know she will never forgive me again, but I have some things I want to say to her. Can you help me pass them on to her? I won't see her." The old lady Liu raised her hand and touched her head, letting out a long sigh. "Even if I pass it on to her, are you sure she will listen, Xiaoyan? You know what she wants most now. So, are you willing to let go and fulfill her?" Liu Ruyan thought of Mu Ji's sister, Mu Yunxian, sending her the divorce agreement. She said she had prepared this for a long time. She would keep sending it to her until she was willing to sign it. Liu Ruyan buried her head in the old lady Liu's lap. "Grandma." The old lady Liu stroked Liu Ruyan's head, but she also closed her eyes and shook her head helplessly. She could see that Mu Ji's boy had made up his mind and would never turn back. It was really fate. "Do you and Mu Ge have no fate?" After an unknown amount of time, Liu Ruyan smiled self-deprecatingly. "Grandma, I'll sign." The Liu couple sat downstairs, constantly looking up at the upstairs. "What do you think our mother and that girl are talking about?" Madame Liu shook her head. "I can't guess." After about half an hour, Liu Ruyan finally came down from upstairs. She was expressionless, but her eyes were visibly red. Madame Liu was obviously also emotionally affected. She got up and walked towards her. "What did your grandmother say to you?" Liu Ruyan looked at her mother's worried face, but she couldn't smile. She also couldn't say words of comfort. "I signed it. I won't bother him anymore in the future." Madame Liu was stunned, seeming to want to say something, but in the end she could only swallow the words back. In the end she only said, "Separating from someone who is not suitable may not be a bad thing." Liu Ruyan looked at her mother quietly. "Mom, there will never be a man more suitable than him." After speaking, she turned and left the old house. "Mu Gu," the old lady Liu said, "has everything been arranged over there? We don't need to bring too many things." I sat on the carpet in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, looking out the window with a peaceful and calm expression. I saw Liu's announcement. I hugged my arms and put my face on my arms, softly saying, "Aunt Wang, I don't know when we'll be back this time when you leave with me." Aunt Wang smiled when she heard this. "The old lady Liu just sent me a recording, saying that the young lady wants to give it to you. She also said that she has signed the divorce agreement, and only hopes that you can listen to it, Mr. Mu. Do you want to listen?" My eyes were fixed and I didn't speak. When Aunt Wang heard this, she handed over the phone. I held the phone and looked at the audio for a long time before finally clicking on the recording. The next second, Liu Ruyan's low voice came from inside. "I'm sorry I broke my promise. I know you won't forgive me, but I still hope you can finish listening. At that time I met a boy while studying abroad. His name is Yi Tengshu and he is Yi Tengqing's twin brother. We used to be together. But later, he and his parents had a car accident on the way to find me. None of the three survived. Only Yi Tingcheng, who was still in class at the time, avoided the disaster. I promised Yi Tingshu to take care of Yi Tingcheng. This is the last thing he left me with. I don't want to lie to him. Mugu, Yi Tingcheng and I have never been the kind of relationship you thought. He's just the younger brother of Itose. I thought about treating him like my own brother and taking care of him for the rest of my life. After listening to the recording, I could only slowly close my eyes and finally tears slid down my cheeks. This day, Zhang Ma made breakfast but no one came downstairs. Song Yaoji even came looking. Zhang, where is President Liu? Zhang Ma shook her head. He hasn't come down yet. I don't know if something happened. I was wondering if I should go up and check. What could happen to President Liu? But he swallowed the rest of his words. Song Yaoji's expression changed slightly, and he quickly got up and quietly went upstairs. Zhang Ma hurriedly followed upstairs a few seconds later. Song Yaoji came to the door and knocked hard. After knocking several times with no response, he turned to Zhang Ma and asked, Zhang Ma, do you have a spare key? Yes, I'll go find it right away. Just as Zhang Ma was about to turn around and go to the study to find the spare key, the door opened, and Lu Ruyan was still wearing the same clothes from last night. He looked at them expressionlessly, his voice extremely hoarse. What's all the noise? Song Yaoji immediately breathed a sigh of relief, then his eyes scanned him up and down, finally noticing the injury on his right hand. His eyes widened. President Liu, your hand? Lu Ruyan turned and walked back into the room, leaving a faint sentence. Get someone to clean this up. The two looked at each other, craning their necks to peer into the room, and saw that the glass door of the bathroom was completely shattered. They both gasped. 10 minutes later, Lu Ruyan came out dressed and ready. President Liu, let me take you to the hospital first to treat the wound on your hand. Seeing that Lu Ruyan didn't want to go to the hospital, Song Yaoji hesitated for a moment before saying, but your hand like this will cause everyone to suspect something. Only then did Lu Ruyan open his eyes and glance at him. Song Yaoji breathed a sigh of relief and drove straight to the hospital. After going to the hospital for bandaging, Lu Ruyan still didn't receive Mu Ji's call. A week later, he returned to the old house again. He got a definitive answer from the old madam. He's gone, he's already left Dangcheng. I listened to those recordings but didn't make that call to him. Lu Ruyan wore a thin shirt. Standing in the yard smoking, the evening breeze was a bit bone-chilling, but he didn't seem to feel it. Madame Lu took his coat and walked to his side, putting it on him, her eyes falling on his unbandaged elbow, earnestly saying, your body is your own, you still need to take care of yourself. You need to know what your identity is. President of Lu's, you bear not only the Lu family, but also the fate of tens of thousands of families. Lu Ruyan put out his cigarette, turned around and tightened the shawl on his shoulders, saying stiffly, okay, I know. Madame Lu quietly looked at him. Have you lost weight? Song Yaoji stood aside silently. Indeed, he lost weight. He doesn't eat properly, sometimes only drinks coffee all day, and doesn't eat a bite of food. Even if he tried to persuade him, it was useless. Just as he was about to speak, he saw Lu Ruyan's gaze sweeping over. Song Yaoji could only lower his head and shut his mouth. You sent people abroad, didn't you? Madame Lu paused before asking. Yeah. Lu Ruyan responded softly as before. It's cold, go inside. Madame Lu looked at his slightly desolate figure, her brows furrowed, her expression complicated. A week ago he sent people abroad. He originally wanted to seek justice, but unexpectedly received news that Itose had been seriously injured in a car accident and hospitalized. His life was saved, but his legs were ruined. Now, hearing him admit it himself, Madame Lu's mood was very complicated. You protected him so much back then, but now you've dealt such a heavy blow. Itose woke up 2 days later, and the final diagnosis was already out. The 4th and 5th lumbar vertebrae were damaged, causing nerve damage. His right leg had a comminuted fracture. His life was saved, but he may have trouble even standing in the future. I'm afraid he won't be able to live without a wheelchair for the rest of his life. They'll drive us out. Itose stared at him. Xiaoshuang, call Lu Ruyan and tell him to come see me. Now that I've become like this, how can he not come? Xiaoshuang gritted her teeth. Special Assistant Song said that President Liu will have no further relationship with you. Itose, you've been abandoned. Itose widened his eyes in disbelief. No, impossible. I don't believe it. He wouldn't treat me like this. I want to see him. I want to see him. He began to break down and throw things. Xiaoshuang had to call the doctor to give him a sedative. During the process, Xiaoshuang saw the doctor's actions and a glint flashed in her eyes. 2 days later, Assistant Song received a video from Xiaoshuang. After watching the video, Assistant Song was immediately shocked. He took his phone and rushed into the office. President Liu. Assistant Song swallowed his saliva. She handed the phone directly to Lu Ruyan and opened the video, which showed Itojo going crazy in the hospital. Brother, I was wrong, I really didn't mean to. You've always let me have my way since I was little, why won't you this time? I like Lu Ruyan. What did I do wrong? No, I don't regret it. He's mine, brother. You deserve to die. Song Yaoji was terrified after falling. She leaned on the desk with both hands and said angrily, investigate. Find out the truth for me. Song Yaoji picked up her broken phone with trepidation. After leaving the office, Lu Ruyan slowly stood up, walked to the French window and sneered. Itojo, you're really capable, because the matter was quite serious. Song Yaoji personally flew abroad. Song Yaoji Assistant Song. I beg you, please let me see him. I just want to see him once. Song Yaoji looked expressionlessly at Itojo on the hospital bed, her eyes full of disgust. You should wake up. President Liu will never see you again in this lifetime. Itojo's face changed drastically. He finally realized the fear. If before this he was still confident that Lu Ruyan wouldn't really abandon him, now he was only left with fear and anxiety. I didn't mean to, I can explain. I just didn't want my brother to see him. I didn't think there would be a car accident. I really didn't know. Song Yaoji was too lazy to waste any more words with him, and looked at Xiaoshuang on the side, beckoning to him. Xiaoshuang hurried over. Special Assistant Song. You can report to the company starting tomorrow. Xiaoshuang was overjoyed upon hearing this. Thank you, Special Assistant Song. Song Yaoji left. Only Xiaoshuang was left in the ward. Just as he was feeling indignant, Itojo said in a sinister voice, You betrayed me. Hearing this, Xiaoshuang turned to look at Itojo's terrifying expression and said calmly, I'm just standing on the side of justice. It was you who did something wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. Itojo grabbed the fruit knife on the bedside table and threw it at him. You dare to betray me. I will never let you go. Xiaoshuang looked at the fruit knife next to him and got angry too. What can you do if you don't let me go? You're a useless person now. You have nothing now. What makes you think you can still order me around? Hearing Xiaoshuang's sarcastic words, Itojo felt his anger surge. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Xiaoshuang snatched the thing he threw and pushed it to the door of the ward. Serves you right for getting into a car accident. I think you should have been killed directly. Hearing these words, Itojo suddenly became quiet, staring at him with dead eyes. What are you looking at? That's right, your car accident wasn't an accident. Didn't you pretend to break your leg to deceive President Liu? Then let your leg be truly broken. Let's see if you dare to deceive people in the future. Just like that, Lu Ruyan cut off Itojo's medical expenses. Itojo had no money and could only laboriously push the wheelchair under him and slowly roll home until it was dark. Immediately afterwards, 2 black men who didn't know where they came from in the alley, under his terrified expression, carried him on their shoulders. 2 years passed in the blink of an eye. Song Yaoji handed the phone to Lu Ruyan. President Liu, it's Madame Liu's call. She wants you to go back to the old house tonight. Hearing these words, Lu Ruyan finally looked up at him. Understood. The man seemed a little shy when he saw Lu Ruyan. Lu Ruyan understood with a glance. He immediately wanted to turn around and leave. Madame Liu seemed to see through his thoughts and quickly called out to him to stop. Lu Ruyan frowned imperceptibly, but he still didn't want to disrespect his parents and walked over. You called me back just to have me go on blind dates and pick a man? Hearing these words, the couple's expressions darkened. The man next to him looked at him uneasily, but he still plucked up the courage to take the initiative. To greet Lu Ruyan. President Liu, hello, my surname is Shan. Shin Mingxian. Lu Ruyan glanced at him, staring for a long time before shifting her gaze. She looked at Madame Liu with a complicated expression. Mom, you've really put in the effort. You specially found me a fake. The word fake was too insulting. Shin Mingxuan's face turned white instantly. He looked at him with red eyes and a pitiful expression. It must be said that his expression and feeling were indeed somewhat similar. At least he had a moment of panic when he first came in. Mr. Shun, my ex-husband never looked at me with that expression or in that way. Shun Mingxian was stunned after hearing this, and he looked at Madame Lu somewhat blankly. Lu Ruyan tugged at the corner of her lips. As if mocking, when he felt wronged, he would just slap me instead of showing weakness to a woman. Shun Mingxuan's face stiffened. He was personally chosen by Madame Lu, and he also knew that this woman couldn't forget her ex-husband, so he had been working very hard to imitate him. Even Madame Lu said he was very similar. But why does she think he's not like him? Lu Ruyan was too lazy to look again, but instead glanced at the second floor. Aren't you aware that I gave up investigating his whereabouts 6 months ago? Madame Lu was rarely taken aback for a moment upon hearing this. Lu Ruyan glanced at the silent Mother Lu, and then walked upstairs. I'm going to see Grandma. Shun Mingxian bit his lip as he watched her beautiful back slowly disappear from sight. He quietly clenched his fist. Auntie, did I do something wrong? Madame Lu shook her head faintly. It's not your problem. Mingxian, go home first today. Shin Mingxuan's eyes dimmed. Before leaving, he still looked reluctantly in the direction of the second floor. A woman like Lu Ruyan. What man wouldn't like her? Rich, powerful, and beautiful. Shun Mingxian clenched his fist. He won't give up this opportunity. The old lady Lu was listening to opera on her rocking chair, and the old lady Lu nodded. She said earnestly, you're in your 30s, it's time to consider your next relationship. Don't make your parents worry about you. Hearing this, Lu Ruyan's actions paused slightly. Do you still have contact with him? No. Lu Ruyan said softly and stiffly. Not knowing whether she believed it or not, she spoke after drinking a cup of tea. Grandma, I've let go. As for a new relationship, I will try to accept it. So, please tell them that I don't need to choose a suitable Mr. Lu anymore. The old lady Lu stared at her for a long time before nodding. Okay. Lu Ruyan turned her head at the door before turning to go downstairs. She glanced at her parents on the sofa and said, I've already told Grandma, you don't have to worry about me anymore. On this day, Song Yaoji was called to the office. That male celebrity at the banquet before was called Lin Yu, right? Ask him to have dinner together tonight. Yes, Director Lu. I'll contact Mr. Lin right away. Only then did Song Yaoji confirm that she hadn't misheard. What exactly is going on? She turned back to her office to check Lin Yu's photos, and he was indeed very handsome. It's just that how did she remember that the male celebrity intentionally fell into Director Lu's arms that day during the opening ceremony? But Director Lu should have been indifferent at the time. Could it be that she took a fancy to him back then? Over the next 3 months, Lu Ruyan and the popular young idol Lin Yu had dinner together several times, entered and exited hotels together, and various intimate photos were flying everywhere. Seeing Lu Ruyan's news on TV, my movements paused slightly and Aunt Wang glanced at me, quickly turning off the TV. After a long while of being stunned, I dialed a phone call. Eldest sister. I plan to go back, since Lu Ruyan has let go of the past and started a new life. I don't think she will pester me anymore. Mu Yunxian didn't say anything. In more than 3 months, Lu Ruyan and that actor named Lin Yu have been very close, investing and endorsing, and now they're so high profile. She even heard that Lu Ruyan, for that actor, rejected the blind date arranged for her by Madame Lu. Okay, when are you coming back? I'll pick you up. After hanging up the phone, I closed my eyes. Everything is in the past. 2 months later. Director Lu, Mr. Lin's flight is at 2 p.m. You promised to pick her up before. Lu Ruyan glanced at the time, got up from the hangar with a cold expression. Let's go. Song Yaoji couldn't help but glance at her. During this period, the rumors between the two, Lu Ruyan made a big fuss. Almost everyone knew. Song Yaoji could vaguely guess her thoughts. But now she's not sure. After all, Lu Ruyan's indulgence towards Lin Yu, even she can't tell whether it's true or false. Lu Ruyan didn't look up, but kept staring at the tablet in her hand, but she could also feel her gaze from time to time. If you have something to say, just say it. Are you mute? Song Yaoji cleared her throat awkwardly. Director Lu, are you serious about Mr. Lin? After hearing this, Lu Ruyan turned her head to look out the window, and after a moment she said, don't guess anymore, it's true. Song Yaoji's breathing stagnated, and she couldn't help but clench the steering wheel in her hand. After a long while she nodded. Yes. Director Liu, I understand. Airport. Song Yaoji was looking for a parking space nearby when she turned her head and saw the person in the back seat of Mu Yunxuan's car. Looking very familiar, Song Yaoji thought she was mistaken, so she stared intently for a while. Without moving until someone honked behind her, Lu Ruyan slowly looked at her. What are you looking at? Song Yaoji gritted her teeth and said, I just seem to see Mr. Mu get into that car too. Lu Ruyan was expressionless and said nothing. Until the car behind honked again, she said, Don't block the road. Only then did Song Yaoji find a parking space and park, only to see Lu Ruyan heading towards the elevator without looking back. Has she really let go? Or is Mr. Lin more important now? After Lin Yi saw Lu Ruyan, he easily took her arm. Ruyan. The reporters heard Lin Yi's voice and immediately surrounded them. President Lu, Mr. Lin. Are you dating? Song Yaoji stepped forward to block the reporters. Sorry. Everyone, you can take pictures, but President Lu will not answer any questions. The reporters didn't dare to keep chasing Lu Ruyan, so they turned to Lin Yi. Lin Yi leaned his head sweetly on her shoulder. Yes, we are dating. This was Lin Yi's first public acknowledgement of their 2-year relationship. In an instant, the reporters in the crowd took crazy pictures, and even the surrounding fans started to clamor. After breaking out of the encirclement of reporters and fans, Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief. Ruyan, you're so busy and you still took the time to pick me up. Do you miss me? Lu Ruyan just glanced at him, looking somewhat absent-minded. What do you think? Lin Yi moved closer. The two had been officially dating for almost half a year. Lu Ruyan's response to him had always been lukewarm. How could I guess what you're thinking? As he spoke, he reached out and rubbed her neck, wanting to kiss her proactively. Song Yaoji glanced at the rearview mirror and suddenly stepped on the brake. Sorry, President Lu. A cat suddenly darted across in front. Lin Yi looked at Assistant Song with dissatisfaction. Assistant Song, you need to concentrate when driving. Yes, Mr. Lin. After arriving at the destination, Lin Yi looked at Lu Ruyan, who wasn't preparing to get out of the car, and had no choice but to get out of the car helplessly. After Song Yaoji drove the car away, she didn't know where to go for a moment. President Lu. Should we go back to the villa or the company? To the Mu family. Yes. President Lu. Outside the Mu family's gate, Song Yaoji turned off the car and parked it at the entrance, so as not to be discovered by the people inside. Lu Ruyan lit a lady's cigarette and sat in the back, looking at the lights of the villa. It seems like a lot of lights are on in the Mu family today. Song Yaoji often took Lu Ruyan to the Mu family to secretly observe for a while before leaving. But today, the lights on the 2nd and 3rd floors were also brightly lit. So, the familiar figure she saw at the airport today was Mr. Mu. Song Yaoji slowly looked at the rearview mirror. Go check which flight she was on today. Also, give a heads up to the train stations, airports, and highways. Yes. President Lu. Song Yaoji instantly understood her meaning. She was worried that Mr. Mu would leave Hong Kong again without a word. After an unknown amount of time, until the lights of the Mu family had all dimmed, Lu Ruyan finally spoke. Find a few people to come and guard it tomorrow. After returning to the villa, Lu Ruyan pushed open the door and returned to the bedroom. She stood there quietly, looking at their wedding photo foolishly. She let out a chuckle with an unclear meaning. Mu family. I heard before that Madame Lu had found a few boys for her, but Lu Ruyan didn't seem to like them. Not long after, she was rumored to have a scandal with that male celebrity. So, little Mu, have you really completely let go? I looked at her, my expression somewhat calm. Of course. Does elder sister think I look like I haven't let go? Mu Yunxian stared at me for a while before touching my head. Doesn't seem like it. That night, Lu Ruyan returned to her room and picked up her phone to take a look. All the missed calls were from Lin Yi. She put down her phone, picked up a cigarette, lit it, and went to the balcony. Looking up at the starry sky, she found that the stars seemed brighter than usual tonight. Lin Yi called her several times, but no one answered. She felt uneasy, so she called Song Yaoji. Song Yaoji's answer to her was that she had already sent President Lu home a long time ago, but this home Lin Yi had never been to even once. She didn't used to think there was anything different, since they always met and dated in hotels. But now she doesn't think that way. She had someone investigate Mugu before, and they said that after the two divorced, Mugu seemed to have left Hong Kong. No way. She absolutely cannot let the two of them just part ways like this. She wants to remarry him later. That day, the Mu family's villa was very lively. Song Yaoji also reported the Liu family's visit to the Mu family to Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan listened and walked to the French window, silent for a long time. Song Yaoji looked up at her back, which was really too lonely. Thinking about it, it made sense. The Mu family must be full of laughter and joy right now, and only their president Liu is excluded. Thinking about it this way, it's really a bit pitiful. President Liu, or maybe we shouldn't go. Liu Ruyan turned her head, deeply scrutinizing her. Do you think they'll welcome me? Song Yaoji, definitely not. She touched her nose. But President Liu, a family reunion isn't complete without you. It wouldn't be perfect. Besides, I think Mr. Mu has already let it go. He wants to coexist peacefully with you. Liu Ruyan didn't speak, remaining silent for a few seconds before asking, have they not left yet? Song Yaoji looked up and shook her head, saying, I heard the Mu family's servants went out to buy a lot of ingredients. I guess they plan to have dinner at Mr. Mu's place. Liu Ruyan raised her wrist and glanced at the time. It's already 4 o'clock. Postpone the afternoon meeting until tomorrow morning. Song Yaoji nodded. Yes, President Liu. But just as the two of them walked out of the office, they ran into Lingli coming out of the elevator. She was dressed very smartly today. It was obvious that she had dressed up carefully. Seeing the two of them come out, she took off her sunglasses and rushed forward angrily. She easily took Liu Ruyan's arm. Ruyan, I made a restaurant reservation. You absolutely can't ditch me tonight. Song Yaoji glanced at the two of them and took a half-step back. Liu Ruyan looked at her. I have something to do tonight. Lingli didn't like hearing that at all. I don't care. No matter what you have to do, you can't leave me behind. I want to go with you. Liu Ruyan looked at her for a few seconds, before quietly answering, Are you sure? Song Yaoji suddenly had a bad feeling. She couldn't help but remind her. Lingli immediately glared at her unhappily. What? Assistant Song doesn't want me to go with you too? Song Yaoji was speechless, just looking at her with mixed feelings. Liu Ruyan said indifferently, Whatever you want. Lingli, upon hearing this, immediately raised the corners of her lips happily. Okay. But when they arrived at the place, Lingli thought it was her home. Just as she was about to get excited, she saw the character Mu on the sign at the door. The smile on Lingli's face immediately froze. Ruyan, this is... Liu Ruyan glanced at her, already pushing the car door open to get out. I'm going to infiltrate. Lingli completely didn't expect that she would bring her to infiltrate. Her mind couldn't process it for a moment. She looked at Liu Ruyan, who had already gotten out of the car, and could only bite the bullet and get out as well. When Liu Ruyan and the three of them appeared in the living room, the originally pleasant atmosphere immediately froze. At this moment, Lingli really regretted it a bit. Why did she insist on coming? She knew she should have gone back with Song Yaoji. Liu Ruyan wasn't as awkward as Lingli. Her expression was particularly natural. On the contrary, the Liu family looked at the two of them, who had appeared at the Mu's house as a couple. Madame Liu and Father Liu both had dark faces. Lingli secretly glanced at the Liu couple's embarrassing expressions. She felt even more uneasy and regretful in her heart. She hid behind Liu Ruyan without much confidence, but Liu Ruyan directly pulled her to her side. Mom, Dad, Grandma, this is Lingli. Lingli quickly bowed. Hello, Grandma. Hello, Uncle and Aunt. I'm Lingli, Ruyan's boyfriend. The old lady didn't show her displeasure so obviously, but her words were not polite at all. Young people just go back, is it? You don't even pick what you eat now. You must be really hungry. The expression on Lingli's face immediately froze. She looked at Liu Ruyan with some grievance. Liu Ruyan's eyes swept over me, seeing that I was watching quietly. Without any extra emotions, she couldn't help but lower her eyes. You have good taste. But someone doesn't like me. It was obvious who she was referring to. Lingli's expression was very awkward. She really wanted to leave here now. Just as she was considering whether to leave first, I stood up from the sofa. Mr. Lin, welcome to the Mu family. Please have a seat. Lingli felt even more speechless after hearing my words. She wanted to take a look at Liu Ruyan's attitude, but she had already walked over. She sat down on my side. She had no choice but to follow, but there was obviously no empty seat on the sofa anymore. I pointed to the spot she had just been sitting in. Mr. Lin, please sit. Is this okay? It's okay, sit. I'm just going to the kitchen to take a look. Seeing that Lu Ruyan was unmoved, Lingli had no choice but to say thank you and sat down. She felt like she was sitting on pins and needles. I glanced at everyone and said softly, "You guys chat. I'll go to the kitchen and see how the preparations are going." As soon as I left, Father Lu directly opened his mouth to scold. "Do you not have a brain? What are you bringing her here for? Are you trying to anger us to death? And you, who told you to come? What are you doing here?" Lu Ruyan then turned her gaze away from me. "You can come to visit Mugu, so can't I?" Was immediately flustered. He didn't know they were coming to the Mu family at first. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have come no matter what. I'm sorry. I didn't think it through. I just came with Ruyan to take a look. I don't know, Madame Lu doesn't leave any leeway. She even came empty-handed the first time." Ling Li's face was flushed with embarrassment, and Father Mu lowered his head. He secretly looked at Lu Ruyan, wanting to beg for her help. "You don't need to target him. He didn't know about it beforehand." Ling Li couldn't help but tear up when he heard Lu Ruyan speaking up for him. Aunt Wang in the kitchen couldn't help but say, "The eldest young lady is becoming more and more unreliable in her work. She even brought someone here. It's outrageous." Mu Yunxian returned home, and her face immediately turned cold when she saw the uninvited guest. The Lu couple also noticed Mu Yunxuan's displeasure, and directly issued an order to leave. Ling Li could only force a smile and said, "Then I won't disturb you all. I'll leave now. I'm really sorry for today." Only after Ling Li walked out of the Mu family's gate did Madame Lu look at her daughter. "And you, get out of here immediately too. A perfectly good day has been ruined by a troublemaker. They feel indebted to Mugu. He doesn't want to provoke Mugu because of him." This moment, a voice came from the kitchen. "Old Madame Lu. Director Lu, you can take your seats. Dinner is ready." Madame Lu glared at her daughter, and Lu Ruyan also turned and left, feeling a little embarrassed by her shamelessness. Lu Cheng even snorted coldly. He showed no kindness. How unlucky. Lu Ruyan didn't leave, and Mu Yunxian was too embarrassed to actually kick her out, considering the Lu family's reputation. After dinner, Song Yaoji saw Lu Ruyan coming out of the Mu family, and quickly opened the car door in the back seat. "Director Lu, go take care of Ling Li's situation." Song Yaoji was stunned. She tentatively glanced at her boss and thought, "What is this? Capturing women? Does Director Lu want to win back her husband? What do you think?" Song Yaoji was speechless. "Of course I support you, but you've already been in one relationship. I'm afraid Mr. Mu will mind." Lu Ruyan tugged at the corner of her lips, looked out the window and said softly, "I actually hope he minds. That's also quite pathetic. Lu Ruyan came to your house last night. Did anything happen?" Recalling the little episode in the kitchen last night, I shook my head. "It's good nothing happened. By the way, do you know who contacted me today? It was that Su Yuqin, Sister Shui." I was stunned. "Sister Shui?" "Yes, there's something I haven't told you all along. Sister Shui contacted me when she found out about your divorce. I said I didn't know, but she still asked Yunxian in the end. I told you before she must like you, but you didn't believe me. Do you believe me now?" Seeing that I was a bit lost in thought, Song Yaoji coughed lightly. "I also mentioned to her that you weren't planning on starting a new relationship, but she said she was just contacting you as a friend. I couldn't refuse her, right?" As they were talking, my phone rang. I took it out and looked at it. It was a local Hong Kong number, and I vaguely guessed that the other person was Su Yuqin. "Hello. Mugu." Hearing Su Yuqin's voice, I thought, "Senior sister. Are you free tonight? Would you like to have dinner with me?" I was silent for a few seconds before saying, "I'm free, senior sister." "Okay. I'll send you the address later." After Song Yaoji told me to hang up, she said, "I bet senior sister will confess to you tonight. You're finally single now, and she definitely won't miss this opportunity." I didn't say anything. I put away my phone and turned to look out the window. Song Yaoji continued to say, "What's this called? The white moonlight from university is the most unforgettable, right?" When it was time for the appointment, Song Yaoji parked the car downstairs at the restaurant. Alright, go on up. I'll wait for you in the car. I looked up at her. Aren't you coming with me? Please, brother. The senior sister is going to confess to you. What would I be doing if I went up with you? I was speechless. I unfastened my seatbelt and got out of the car. Not far away in another car sat Lin Yu. She had received a call from Song Yaoji not long ago. Lu Ruyan actually wanted to break up with her, and told her to name any conditions she wanted. Of course, she was unwilling to be dumped so ambiguously. After she saw me walk into a restaurant, she immediately took out her phone and called Song Yaoji, Special Assistant Song. I agreed to a peaceful breakup with Lu Ruyan, but I want to discuss my conditions with her in person, otherwise I won't agree to the breakup. I'm waiting for her at this restaurant. After Song Yaoji listened to her quietly, she said, Mr. Lin, are you threatening Director Lu? Of course I wouldn't dare threaten Director Lu. I'm in this restaurant. You tell Lu Ruyan that I saw her ex-husband dating another woman. It's up to her whether she comes or not. After saying that, she hung up the phone. Before this, she had thought Lu Ruyan had some amount of affection for her. But now it seems not to be the case. If you don't like her, why did you have such a high-profile relationship with her? Making it known to everyone, Linny put on her hat and mask, got out of the car, and walked into the restaurant. Afraid that Lu Ruyan wouldn't come, she took out her phone and secretly took a photo, sending it to Song Yaoji. Upon receiving the photo, Song Yaoji immediately showed it to Lu Ruyan. The photo was a bit blurry, but they both recognized that the person in it was indeed Mu Gu, and the person sitting across from him was a woman. President Lu, should we go? Lu Ruyan stared at the photo for a long time. I feel like this man looks familiar. Let's go and see. In the restaurant, I was in a relatively relaxed mood because Su Yuqin didn't confess her feelings to me. This relieved me, otherwise I really wouldn't know how to reject her. Yunxian said you're back, and I was quite shocked. That's why I got your phone number from Junior Chen. Are you still leaving in the future? I shook my head. I'm not leaving. This is my home, where else can I go? Su Yuqin also smiled. She didn't ask me what had happened before either. This Friday is Hong Kong University's anniversary, and Yunxian and I will both be invited. You should come too. There should be many high society people at this year's annual meeting. It would be good for you to get to know them in advance. Okay, I'll go with my older sister then. Su Yuqin smiled gently. You will be cold. This time. A waiter's voice came from behind. President Lu, you're here. This way, please. I subconsciously looked up and happened to meet Lu Ruyan's gaze. Su Yuqin had obviously heard it too. Without turning her head, she knew who the waiter was talking about. She looked at me worriedly. Should we change restaurants? I shook my head. No need, senior. This restaurant tastes pretty good, and the dishes are already served. It would be a waste not to eat them. Su Yuqin looked at me for a while, and was relieved when she saw that my emotions were still calm. That's good. Should I take you home later? I picked up my juice and took a sip. No need. Just as I was speaking, my phone rang. I picked it up, turned my head to look out the window and answered, Hello. I think I just saw Lu Ruyan go in too. Did you guys run into each other? I uttered a soft, Seriously, how can we run into her everywhere? When did Hong Kong become so small? Or is it because we didn't check the calendar before going out? Chu Chen's last sentence made me laugh. Maybe. As I was speaking, I looked at Su Yuqin across from me. It's Chu Chen, she's waiting for me downstairs. She also turned her head to look out the window. Then why doesn't she come up? Ask her to come up quickly. In the end, Chu Chen came up, but as soon as she came in, she saw Lu Ruyan and Lin Yi. Lin Yi also saw her. She was about to walk over when Lin Yi's choked voice came from Lu Ruyan's side. Let's break up. Chu Chen was almost scared half to death by her voice. But she didn't turn her head to look. Instead, she hid directly behind them in the empty doorway. Now your ex-husband is back. Your family doesn't like me anyway. Let's just break up. So I'm willing to withdraw. To fulfill your family. Lu Ruyan didn't say anything, looking at her act with a silent expression. Lin Yi, however, was a bit unwilling. She moved closer to Lu Ruyan and whispered, You're not going to be with me. Is it because of your ex-husband? Lu Ruyan didn't look at her. You can discuss any requests with Song Yaoji. As long as it's not too excessive. This is Lu Ruyan's benefit after the breakup. After hearing this sentence, Lin Yi still said with some resentment, But I really like you. Lu Ruyan didn't look at her. Regardless of whether what she said was true or false, my life ideals are more important. Linny looked at her. Can we still be friends in the future? No. If you have difficulties, you can find Song Yaoji. This was equivalent to silence. What Linny wanted was her silence, if she still had any fantasies before. After going to the Mu family, she overturned all her previous plans. President Liu, did you already know yesterday that your parents were all there? Did you deliberately take me to your ex-husband's house? Lu Ruyan smiled. You're very smart. Linny still didn't quite understand. But what's your reason for doing this? Since you have your ex-husband in your heart and want to reconcile and make up, shouldn't you show more affection and devotion? You don't need to understand. You can leave now. Linny knew that her play today had come to an end. After saying that, she stood up. Let's not see each other again in the future. My parents said they don't want me to marry into a rich family, so let's just say we were not meant to be. Chu Chun, who was eavesdropping nearby, widened her eyes. She hunched over and crept forward cautiously. I saw her sneaking around like a mouse. What are you doing? Chu Chun quickly put a finger to her lips and made a shush gesture towards me. Su Yuqing also looked at her curiously. Chu Chun waved to her as a greeting and pushed me inside. It's nothing, I hope I didn't disturb you too? I glanced at Su Yuqing, who was smiling. What nonsense are you talking about? Shuejie and I are discussing serious matters. So no confession? Chu Chun turned to look at Su Yuqing, as if saying it with her eyes. Why don't you confess? Su Yuqing faced her urging gaze and just smiled gently. She was never an impulsive person, otherwise she wouldn't have waited until graduation to say those words of affection. Shuedi, what do you want to eat? Chu Chun looked at the bartender and shook her head. I don't need anything, these are fine for me. You guys go ahead and chat. Don't mind me. After a few more casual chats, they planned to leave, passing Lu Ruyan's position. I still nodded to her as a greeting. Su Yuqing also greeted Lu Ruyan upon seeing this. Chu Chun stared at Lu Ruyan for a while. She pulled my arm and walked towards the elevator. Su Yuqing, seeing our backs, was about to follow. But Lu Ruyan's cold voice rang in my ears. Suze has achieved a little success in the past 2 years, so does Xiao Su have a bad memory perhaps? Don't you remember my previous advice to you? Su Yuqing turned to look at her. Xiao Lu. I don't think I've forgotten your advice, have I? That's right, Su Yuqing actually did it. Since that bar incident, she hasn't had any contact with me. Xiao Lu is no longer her wife. Shouldn't normal male-female interactions not require your approval? Lu Ruyan narrowed her eyes, staring at Su Yuqing with a half-smile. Su Yuqing nodded to her with great poise. Enjoy your time, Xiao Lu. We'll be leaving now. Song Yaoji saw the others leave one after another, then opened the car door and entered the restaurant. The three of us said goodbye at the restaurant entrance and separated. Su Yuqing didn't seem to be acting unusual at all. Chu Chun spoke after getting into the car. When I came, I saw that Linny dumped Lu Ruyan, and said that her family didn't agree with her marrying into their family. Are you sure? This surprised me quite a bit. I didn't think Linny was the type to listen to her parents, and she was obviously ambitious. How could she choose to break up so easily? Of course I'm sure, Lu Ruyan's expression was pretty bad at the time. That Linny was crying pretty sadly too. Other people's affairs have nothing to do with us. Chu Chun turned to look at me. You're really open-minded now. Didn't Shuejie reveal even a little bit of affection for you tonight? I shook my head. I'm not stupid. I'm not completely unaware of Su Yuqing's feelings for me. It's just that since she's not taking the initiative to break through, I'm naturally willing to maintain the superficial peace. The Su family has been in the limelight these past 2 years. Are you really not considering it at all? And I haven't heard of any scandals with Shuejie Su. Could she be remaining chaste for you? Isn't she too devoted then? Hey, you don't have to feel burdened or anything. Back then, you were deeply devoted and single-minded towards Lu Ruyan, and you didn't, according to this calculation. Su Yuqing has really liked you for many years, no less than you liked Lu Ruyan. I'm not in the mood to. I leaned my head against the window. Ancestor, just be quiet for a bit. Chu Chun scolded the cheap horse, sent me back to the Mu family, and then drove away. After returning home, I sat on the sofa and my phone vibrated. I picked it up and took a look. It was a message from Su Yuqing, asking if I got home safe. I replied to it. I was just about to put down my phone when another call came in. It was Lu Ruyan. I stared at it for a long time before answering. You just got back and you're already in contact with Su Yuqing? Who I'm in contact with is my freedom. It shouldn't concern you, right? Can't you see that Su Yuqing likes you? So what? Then you're dating her? Who I'm dating is my freedom. None of your business. After saying that, I hung up without waiting for Lu Ruyan to reply. Friday, I received a call from Su Yuqing. Shwedi, are you and CEO Mu on the way? We'll be there soon. Mu Yunxian asked when she saw me hang up the phone. I feel like Su Yuqing likes you? You can tell. I shook my head. I can tell, but I don't plan to start a new relationship. Having you guys is enough for me. Don't. Have you been waiting long? Su Yuqing looked at us and nodded as a greeting. CEO Mu Shwedi, I haven't been waiting long, I just arrived too. Then let's go in. Okay. The three walked side by side. The annual meeting was set up in the largest conference room on campus. Is this newly built? I don't remember it being here when I was in school. Mu Yunxian nodded. Yes, it was donated by the Liu family. As soon as she said this, a commotion came from the front. CEO Liu is here. The others turned to look after hearing the noise. As soon as Lu Ruyan appeared, she was almost immediately surrounded. She greeted some people. She looked in our direction, seeing Su Yuqing standing by my side like a knight. After I saw her gaze, I shifted my eyes away, just as someone came over to talk to Mu Yunxian. She walked a few steps to the side, leaving me and Su Yuqing looking like a golden couple. Su Yuqing nodded to Lu Ruyan from afar, then said intimately to me, "Let me introduce you to some people." I subconsciously leaned closer to her because Su Yuqing's voice wasn't very loud. After I heard her words clearly, I nodded. Okay. Seeing us leave together, looking like a golden couple, Lu Ruyan seemed a little gloomy. Su Yuqing introduced me to some contacts here, and I remembered them all clearly. I also knew very well why they were willing to associate with me. It's simply because of my name, and even more so because I'm Lu Ruyan's ex-husband. Finally, Su Yuqing handed me a glass of water. After I drank half a glass of water, I smiled at her and said, "Okay, thank you, Sister Shue. There's no need to be so polite between us." I looked at her for a few seconds, then slightly raised the corners of my lips, and we smiled at each other. In other people's eyes, it was quite ambiguous. Xiaoruoqing and Lin Shui arrived at some point, and they saw me as soon as they came in. Su Yuqing raised her eyes, saw the two people walking over, especially Lin Shui, and reminded me in a low voice, "Brother Mu, someone's coming over. They're probably looking for you." I subconsciously turned my head to look. Xiaoruoqing took the initiative to greet me very politely. "Hi, Brother Mu, long time no see." I nodded slightly to the two of them. "Long time no see, but President Xia, I'm already used to it, don't mind." I smiled slightly. "No." My gaze fell on Lin Shui. "Long time no see." She responded with a similar smile. "It hasn't been that long." After all, they didn't see each other often before. Lu Ruyan never invited me to her gatherings with them. Only that one time, the night before we got our marriage certificate, I received a call from her. She said that Lu Ruyan was a little drunk, and because I was worried about Lu Ruyan, I rushed over. But after I got there, I realized that Lu Ruyan wasn't drunk at all. She was just deliberately teasing me. That was the first time I officially met and got to know them. After more than 2 years, everyone hasn't changed much. I occasionally saw Lin Shui's scandals like her usual mixing in the social scene, but Xiaoruoqing was different. I saw in the news that she was engaged, and the person she was engaged to surprised me. It was actually Jiang Yinian. Speak of the devil, and Jiang Yinian arrives. "What are you doing here?" She took Xiaoruoqing's arm and asked curiously, but when she turned her head, she saw me. She was stunned for a few seconds. "Brother Mu." I nodded to her. "Hello, President Jiang." "Hi. Why are you being so polite? Just call me by my name." After she finished speaking, she looked at Su Yuqing curiously. "Brother Mu, is this beautiful lady your girlfriend?" I was stunned. I really didn't expect her to ask so directly, so I was momentarily speechless. Su Yuqing glanced at me, showing a gentle expression. "Hello, President Jiang." The next second, she turned her head and looked at Lin Shui beside her. "Hey Lin Shui, I remember you used to. Weren't you also interested in Brother Mu?" As soon as she said this, the atmosphere suddenly froze. Su Yuqing couldn't help but look at Lin Shui directly, and Xiaoruoqing seemed to finally remember something. She glanced at her friend and pulled Zhang Yinian behind her, warning her in a low voice. What nonsense are you talking about? Zhang Yinian looked at the awkward atmosphere around her and said somewhat blankly, What did I say? I'm a little embarrassed. For a moment no one spoke. Then Xiaoruoqing spoke up for Zhang Yinian. Ian. Zhang Yinian saw Lu Ruyan waving and greeting her. Lu Ruyan glanced at Lin Shui and then swept her gaze over Su Yuqing beside me. One or two of you really love to act. I felt her gaze. Sister Shui, let's go find my eldest sister. I haven't seen her for a while. I nodded to everyone and then turned to leave. Su Yuqing stayed behind me the whole time. Seeing this, Lu Ruyan didn't stop us until she watched me and Su Yuqing walk out of her sight one after the other. She then looked at the people in front of her. Are you all too idle? Zhang Yinian hid behind Xiaoruoqing. Xiaoruoqing coughed lightly. She speaks without thinking, don't be angry. Lu Ruyan looked at Zhang Yinian. Are you sure she didn't do it on purpose? Zhang Yinian smiled. She really did it on purpose. How could someone as smooth as her make this kind of mistake? Xiaoruoqing was really fed up with this little troublemaker of hers. Come with me, you little troublemaker. Are you just looking for trouble? Lu Ruyan glanced and saw Lin Shui was also about to turn around and leave. But she was stopped by her. I have news about Ito Chang. If I bring him back to take care of him, you shouldn't have any objections, right? That's your own business. But she is not allowed to enter Tangqing to work. If because of your ignorant actions, Mugu is hurt in any way again, Lin Shui, not only will we not be friends, but I won't be soft-hearted either. After saying that, she left. Lin Shui just quietly watched her leaving figure. Su Yuqing was temporarily called away by her friend, right? I found a place to sit down, planning to rest for a while. I didn't see Mu Yunxuan's shadow after looking around. I sat down and was about to pick up the cup on the table when my wrist was suddenly grabbed. I looked up at her. What are you doing? Let go. Lu Ruyan didn't let go, looking down at me condescendingly. You still dare to drink things from outside? Don't you learn your lesson? This sentence evoked some bad memories of mine, and I finally understood what she meant. I pulled my hand back and said faintly, recalling, Sister Shui is not just anyone. Lu Ruyan chuckled. Then who is she to you? Your girlfriend? Even if she is, it's none of your business. My private life is none of your business. After saying that, I got up to leave, but she grabbed my wrist, forcibly following her footsteps to leave. Lu Ruyan, what are you doing? This scene attracted the attention of many people around, but no one dared to step forward and ask a question. Su Yuqing seemed to hear my voice and turned her head to look, but didn't see me anywhere. She was just about to go look for me when her friend grabbed her wrist. Where are you going? I'll talk to you later. I'm going to find a friend. Looking for Lu Ruyan's ex-husband, right? Su Yuqing looked back at her. The two of them just left together. They are ex-spouses after all. In what capacity are you going over there? Your position isn't justified, is it? These words really made Su Yuqing stop, because she was right. In what capacity would she go? After Lu Ruyan dragged me into a corner, she pinned me against the wall and raised my chin. I also want to ask you, what do you want? I was a little dazed by her question. What's wrong with me? What day is it today? Hong Kong University's anniversary, so what? So you know what kind of people come today? Are you in such a hurry to fly together with that Su Yuqing? I took a deep breath, trying to keep my tone calm. Senior and I are just friends. And besides, I came with my elder sister. Then what is Su Yuqing? Your guardian knight or a lapdog? My face darkened. Lu Ruyan, watch your tone. Lu Ruyan didn't speak. She stared at me with a deep gaze, and suddenly leaned in to kiss me. My eyes widened slightly, wanting to dodge, but she held me tightly. You dare? Originally, Lu Ruyan planned to take things slowly, wanting to use the warm water frog method, but I was too cold, and her patience towards me only exists when I'm by her side, without Song Yin watching. Lu Ruyan kissed me deeply, and I kept hitting her arm with both hands. After 5 minutes, my lips were red, and my eyes were full of anger as I looked at her. Get lost. I won't get lost. I wanted to struggle, but she held me tightly and she kissed me, and her mood seemed to improve a lot. Remarry me. I was angered by her shamelessness. Even if all the women in the world are dead, I will never marry you, you bastard. Let go of me, do you hear me? Lu Ruyan looked at me, her angry and vivid face making her feel itchy. Okay, let me kiss you one more time and I'll let you go. Lu Ruyan, don't force me to curse. She was interested. Come on, say a curse and let me hear it. I didn't speak, staring at her with red eyes. Lu Ruyan selectively didn't see it. If you don't curse, can I continue? Continue what? Of course, continue what we were just doing. I struggled hard, but I didn't dare to shout loudly for help. Don't move. How could I listen? Lu Ruyan. Lu Ruyan coughed softly. She was also very surprised. Don't move, let me calm down. I was so angry that my breathing became rapid. Are you a virgin? Lu Ruyan was rarely a little embarrassed. You have to understand me. After all, we haven't seen each other for more than 2 years. Okay? I turned my head and didn't want to look at her, and I wouldn't believe her words either. That's your problem, let go of me, do you hear me? Are you going to let me go out in this state? Lu Ruyan licked her lips with some playfulness. You deserve it. Hee, I really deserve it, or you help me? After saying that, Lu Ruyan was about to kiss me again. Let go of me quickly. This was a familiar voice. From outside the alley I heard, let go of me quickly. Okay, I was just about to scold Lu Ruyan. Suddenly the phone rang. It was Chu Chun. Mugu. The party is almost over. Where are you? I didn't see you. I just ran into Su Yuqing. She said you left with Lu Ruyan. What's going on? After I finished listening, I sent her a voice message. I met Lu Ruyan on the way. I'll be back soon. Chu Chun opened the voice message and looked at it for a while. Senior, do you want to pursue Mugu? Do you think I have a chance? The chance isn't great. It's not because you're not good, but Mugu doesn't really want to start a new relationship right now. So, I think if you want to pursue her, it will be difficult for her. Su Yuqing just smiled slightly when she heard this. I know, liking her doesn't necessarily mean dating her. Being friends is also good. I won't put any psychological pressure on her. Don't worry. I think you're a good match for Mugu. Chu Chun patted her shoulder. Good luck. I'm rooting for you. The next morning, the Mu Corporation suddenly had a major problem. Mu Yunxian didn't even come home all night. When I saw the news in the morning, the Mu Corporation had a tax evasion agreement. And the whistleblower was the CFO of the Mu Corporation. When I saw this news, I almost fell to the ground. Aunt Wang quickly pulled me back and said, Are you okay? I stared at the content on the phone. Where's my sister? Didn't she come home yesterday? Aunt Wang shook her head. She didn't come back. Why don't you give her a call? Hearing this, my face turned pale because I remembered the CFO. When I was in college, I had seen Sun Jiu many times. So why would he suddenly report my sister? But no matter how many calls I made, she didn't answer. Lu Ruyan pushed the door open and entered the villa. Clearly, she already knew. She walked to my side and took a look. Mugu, quickly go change your clothes. Only then did I look at her. My throat was a little dry. What for? Your sister has been taken away for investigation. The Mu Corporation is without a leader. You must step forward. Listen to me. Go change your clothes. I'll go with you. Hearing this, I couldn't help but clench my phone. My face was a little pale. Is the situation very serious? Lu Ruyan paused for a few seconds before saying, It's not serious for your sister. Nothing major will happen to her. But what about the Mu Corporation? What will happen to the company in the future? Lu Ruyan didn't say anything. How could a CFO have the guts to suddenly stab Mu Yunxian in the back at this time? So there must be someone behind him. I looked at Lu Ruyan without saying anything. At this time, I wouldn't refuse Lu Ruyan's help. I know what's important. What should I do when I get to the company? Lu Ruyan took my hand and walked out, quickly asking in a low voice, How many shares do you have? 8%. Lu Ruyan paused. She stopped and turned to look at me. How can it be so little? When my sister first became president, she didn't have many shares under her name. It was difficult to convince the public, so I gave 10% of my shares to my sister. Lu Ruyan hadn't carefully investigated the Mu Corporation situation at the time. As for the reason, as long as the Mu Corporation doesn't fall, it's fine with him. After Mu Yunxian was taken away, the company was in a panic. Several directors even sat in the meeting room all night discussing countermeasures. Why would Director Sun do this? What benefits would he get from doing this? Just when everyone was at a loss, I finally pushed open the door to the meeting room. The few people were stunned at first when they saw me, And then when they saw Lu Ruyan behind me, they immediately looked like they had seen a savior. President Lu, Mr. Mu. Everyone stood up and greeted Lu Ruyan. They asked about the main topic. President Lu, are you here to help our Mu Corporation? Lu Ruyan nodded. Everyone, please sit down. So everyone sat down again. Lu Ruyan pushed me to the main seat and let me sit down. Then she sat in the position to my lower side. I've looked at the taxes. First, let's pay the taxes. The deputy director of the finance department stood up at this time. But President Lu, there's no money in the company's accounts. Where's the company's money? I checked the accounts. A few days ago, 20 billion went out of the company's accounts and was transferred to Director Sun's personal account. Director Sun said it was at President Mu's request, and it was indeed President Mu who ordered the transfer of this money, and the tax amount that Mu Corporation was exposed to owing was shockingly high. It's actually more than 10 billion. But if we want to pay the taxes, we have to pay double. Wouldn't that be more than 20 billion? Everyone was stunned when they heard this. Everyone, please be calm. I know why my sister gave Director Sun this money. I raised my hand. Initially, my sister negotiated terms with Director Sun in private in order to hire him to work for Mu Corporation. During Director Sun's tenure, he would receive a portion of all profits. How could there be such a thing? How could President Mu agree to such a request? Now it's done, how will the company come up with the money to pay the tax? Just then the head of the legal department stood up. Mr. Mu. President Lu, there's actually one more thing. Lu Ruyan's face changed when she saw him stand up. She said, some time ago, President Mu asked me to draft a share transfer agreement. President Mu gave 10% of his shares to President Hua. As soon as these words came out, the conference room immediately erupted into chaos. It would be one thing if he took the money, but Hua Xian not only took the money, but also the shares. That's a bit much. Mu Yunxian, is she crazy? What is she trying to do? I was stunned for a few seconds, then turned to look at Lu Ruyan. Lu Ruyan didn't remain silent for too long. She glanced at the deputy director of the finance department and said, I will allocate this tax money from the Lu Corporation. Settle the tax first. After the meeting, I looked at her and asked directly, do you know something? Lu Ruyan looked at me quietly for a few seconds before saying, if I'm not mistaken, Mu Yunxian or the entire Mu Corporation has been set up. What do you mean? I stood up from the chair. Are you saying Hua Xian? But wasn't Hua Xian introduced by you and my eldest sister? Lu Ruyan's face darkened slightly. I apologize. I do have to take responsibility for this. So don't worry. I will clean up this mess. After all, your eldest sister learned about Hua Xian from me. He took out his phone, his face a little somber. Investigate Hua Xian. After settling things, Lu Ruyan and I went to pick up her eldest sister, Mu Yunxian. Mu Yunxian just looked a little pale but was otherwise fine. I stepped forward and hugged her. Eldest sister. Mu Yunxian's eyes flickered. He looked at Lu Ruyan. The two looked at each other, as if there was something unspoken. Get in the car. We'll talk about it when we get home. After getting in the car, Mu Yunxian was silent for a long time. She finally asked in a hoarse voice, where are Sun Jiyun and Hua Xian? The directors said they can't be reached. Mu Yunxian curled her lips. Sun Jiyun is Hua Xian's man. I've known Sun Jiyun for 8 years. How long have they known each other? She just couldn't understand why Sun Jiyun would betray her for Hua Xian. His shares were enough to last him a lifetime without worry. Or did Hua Xian give him more? What could it be? Mu Yunxian suddenly felt a pain in her head. She couldn't help but raise her hand to press her forehead. Eldest sister, are you okay? Lu Ruyan raised her eyes and glanced at the rearview mirror, pulling the car over to the side of the road. Mu Yunxian pressed her head hard. Some things that she had ignored before seemed to become clear at this moment. That familiar scent on Sun Jiyun's body. Wasn't it the same as Hua Xian's? Eldest sister, how are you? Do you need to go to the hospital? Mu Yunxian slowly closed her eyes and shook her head. She squeezed my hand and rested her head on my shoulder. Upon reaching the Mu family, Lu Ruyan watched the two of us walk into the villa gate before getting into the car and dialing a number. Any results? President Lu, we can't find any clues. The information Hua Xian revealed is all we can find. But he is indeed an orphan and has no other forces behind him. Lu Ruyan stared quietly ahead, tapped the steering wheel a few times and after a few seconds of silence said, "Investigate the Mu family. Investigate my father-in-law's accounts." Assistant Song Yaoji said after a few seconds, "Understood, President Lu. Also, contact the other directors who didn't attend today's Mu Corporation meeting. I want to see them. Today is." "President Lu, I'll arrange it right away." On the other side, Song Yaoji managed to call the few directors who were avoiding contact to Lu Ruyan's presence. Mu Corporation was in trouble, Mu Yunxian was taken away, but these three didn't appear at the Mu Corporation's conference hall. There was obviously a problem. "President Lu, is there anything you need from us?" Lu Ruyan glanced at the three, saying something with a hint of ambiguity. "I've shielded the Mu Corporation for so many years, what do you think?" The three men looked a little surprised. "Then why didn't you do anything before?" "I couldn't be bothered to deal with you. Letting me do it, would you even have the face? As for later, why would I bother to do it?" The three men immediately began to sweat. "President Lu, we didn't know your plans before. The Mu Corporation shares we had in our hands have all been sold to President Hua." Lu Ruyan's face darkened. Her voice immediately turned cold. "If you wanted to sell, why didn't you sell to Mu Yunxian instead selling to outsiders? I want to hear your reasons for betraying Mu Yunxian." "President Lu, let's be direct. We refused when Huaxing found us, but Huaxing threatened me with my son's future abroad." "President Lu, we are the same. Huaxing found us with leverage. He didn't allow us to refuse at all." "President Lu, we are truly sorry." Lu Ruyan didn't speak. Song Yaoji, who was next to her, glanced at her again. She also felt that this seemed a bit tricky. The things Huaxing did were clearly aimed at President Mu. Targeting Mu's. Lu Ruyan stood in front of the French window of the office. "Huaxing now has already grasped a lot of Mu's parts. Find a way to contact him." Song Yaoji nodded. Half an hour later, Song Yaoji hurriedly pushed the door open with her phone. "President Lu, I have contacted Miss Hua." Lu Ruyan reached out and took the phone. "President Hua. President Lu, I heard you were looking for me. And it seems you are still investigating me." Lu Ruyan listened to his unhurried voice and went straight to the point. "Can you and I talk?" Huaxing asked after a few seconds of silence. "What does President Lu want to talk about?" "About the shares in your hand, President Lu. If you're so direct, then there's nothing to talk about. Then if you oppose me, how much confidence do you have?" Huaxing chuckled. "Then President Lu, let's rely on our own abilities." After speaking, he hung up the phone first. In the afternoon, Mu's Public Relations Department issued a statement. Below the statement was evidence of the police accepting their report, proving that the Tao water leak was not Mu's intention at all, but Sun Jiyuan's private operation. And at this moment, Sun Jiyuan is already on a resort island abroad. After seeing the news, he turned around and entered the villa. Seeing Huaxing flirting with another man on the sofa, he clenched his phone and walked over. Mu Yunxian called the police. Huaxing tilted his head and glanced at the phone. "What's there to be afraid of? The money from Tao water didn't end up in your pocket anyway." Sun Jiyuan's expression improved a bit. He didn't want to become a wanted criminal. "What do you plan to do next?" Huaxing's expression remained unchanged. After glancing at him, he tilted his head. He whispered something in the male companion's ear. The man kissed him on the face before getting up and leaving with a smile. Sun Jiyuan looked at the man, his face becoming more and more ugly as he walked unsteadily. He loves him. He has always loved him and has loved him for many years, but he always has to watch with his own eyes. The men around him come and go, except there is no place for him. Sun Jiyuan clenched his fists, full of incomprehension and unwillingness. "I really don't understand why you just don't want to touch me. Am I that bad?" Huaxing stood on the steps of the stairs, silent for a few seconds before turning around to look at him. "Jiyu, I treat you as a brother. I can have many men, but I never touch my own people, especially friends." Sun Jiyuan's eyes turned red when he heard this. He couldn't stop him. He could only watch helplessly as he went upstairs to find the man from just now. He covered his face and cried. "He is in great pain. Every day is very painful, because I was worried about Mu Yunxian. So I stayed at home and waited for him all day. As soon as it dawned, I couldn't sit still. I was going to the company to find someone. As soon as I walked out of the yard, I saw Lu Ruyan. After he and I arrived at the company, I heard some staff members say that Mu Yunxian stayed in the finance department all night yesterday and wouldn't let anyone in, saying that he still hasn't come out. I became even more worried when I heard these words. My steps quickened. Lu Ruyan grabbed my arm and said in a low voice, "Slow down. The staff of Mu's are all talking about it. They all know that the young master of Mu's is Lu Ruyan's ex-husband. The two of them appearing at the company together will inevitably cause everyone to start discussing and speculating." I didn't think much about it. I went directly to the finance department. "Sister." I glanced at the shelves that had been almost emptied, thinking that he really went through everything all night. But Mu Yunxian just kept shaking his head and said, "Didn't find it. How could he not find it? Where could it be?" Lu Ruyan pulled me up. He looked down at the distraught Mu Yunxian and said in a deep voice, "Which year's accounts are missing?" Mu Yunxian moved slightly. His hands drooped weakly. "The 2000 accounts are not here." Lu Ruyan comforted in a soft voice, "Get up first. Don't let your brother worry. I will have someone investigate what happened at Mu's in 2000. Mu Yunxian slowly closed his eyes. When he came last night, he wasn't sure if the problem was with the accounts, but because of Sun Jiyuan's betrayal. Only then did he connect the dots. Lu Ruyan looked at him deeply and then pulled him up. He glanced at the female secretary, who quickly and perceptively stepped forward to support Mu Yunxian. He worked all night and his legs were numb when he got up. Looking at the room, with its mess and dirt all over the floor, I sighed and said, "Thank you for reorganizing. It was hard work." The deputy director and the female secretary nodded quickly. "Mr. Mu, you're too kind. This is what we should do." Mu Yunxian returned to the office. I asked, "Big sister, what are you suspecting?" Mu Yunxian didn't speak. She just shook her head. After returning home, I went to my parents' study. I searched the study for a long time, but I didn't find anything suspicious. I had no choice but to sit down in the chair. Looking at the family photo on the desk, I fell into deep thought again. Was Big Sister wrong? Or is there nothing at all? As I spoke, I picked up the photo frame and touched it a few times. Then I discovered that there seemed to be something wrong with the photo frame. I turned the photo frame over and opened it, and sure enough, a storage card fell out from inside. I picked it up and looked at it carefully, then opened the computer on hand. A small program popped up on the screen, but it required a password to enter. After entering it 5 or 6 times, I finally succeeded, because there was too much data. I called my big sister and Lu Ruyan. 20 minutes later, they finally arrived. My big sister and Lu Ruyan looked at the dense data and sorted it out to be Mu's financial records from 2000. Lu Ruyan glanced at the data. Her eyes were deep. The problem is very big. In 2000, it involved as much as 10 billion. It seemed to be related to human life. Thinking of this, the door was suddenly kicked open, and a group of bodyguards swarmed into the room. Yitung, who was in the lead, rushed up and grabbed Lu Ruyan's collar with both hands.